What if I told you that the very items you use daily in your kitchen, the containers you store food in, the bottles you drink from, might be silently disrupting your hormones in ways that could affect your fertility? What if I told you that this isn't based on speculation or fear-mongering, but on peer-reviewed research that's been accumulating for decades? Picture this. You're trying to conceive. You're eating well, tracking your cycle, taking vitamins, doing everything right according to the conventional wisdom. But month after month passes, and nothing happens. You're healthy, you're relatively young, there's no obvious medical reason. Yet conception eludes you. Here's what many people don't realize. The hormonal disruption needed for successful conception isn't just about your reproductive hormones directly. It's about an intricate, finely tuned system of chemical signaling throughout your entire body. And subtle interferences with that signaling can have significant consequences. This is where bisphenol A, or BPA, enters the picture. BPA is one of the most ubiquitous chemicals in our modern environment. It's used to make certain plastics hard and clear, particularly polycarbonate plastics. It's used in the epoxy resins that line food cans. It's in thermal paper receipts. It's in many plastic water bottles, food containers, even dental sealants. And it has the ability to interfere with your hormone function, particularly estrogen signaling. Now, before you panic, let me explain what the research actually shows. BPA is what's called an endocrine disruptor. This is a substance that can interfere with your endocrine system, which is your hormone-producing and hormone-regulating system. The concern with BPA specifically is that its molecular structure is similar enough to estrogen that it can bind to estrogen receptors in your body. Let me explain how this works. Think of estrogen receptors as locks and estrogen molecules as keys. When the right key fits into the right lock, it opens a door that triggers a cascade of cellular responses. BPA molecules are shaped similarly enough to estrogen that they can fit into these same locks. But here's the problem. They don't open the door quite the same way. They can either block the lock entirely, preventing your natural estrogen from working properly, or they can partially activate it, creating weak or confused signals. This is particularly significant when you're trying to conceive. Successful conception requires precise hormonal coordination. Your follicles need to develop and mature at the right time. Ovulation needs to be triggered at precisely the right moment. Your uterine lining needs to thicken in preparation for implantation. And all of this requires carefully orchestrated estrogen and progesterone signaling. When BPA interferes with this signaling, even subtly, it can disrupt the entire process. Research has shown that women with higher BPA levels in their blood tend to have poorer outcomes in fertility treatments. They have fewer eggs retrieved during IVF. Their embryo quality is lower, their implantation rates are reduced, and their miscarriage risk is elevated. But the effects go beyond just fertility treatment outcomes. BPA exposure has been linked to irregular menstrual cycles, polycystic ovary syndrome, and endometriosis. It's been associated with reduced ovarian reserve, meaning fewer viable eggs available for conception, and it's been connected to hormonal imbalances that can affect everything from weight management to mood regulation. Let me explain what happens at the cellular level. Your ovaries contain follicles, each housing an immature egg. These follicles are incredibly sensitive to hormonal signals. When estrogen signals are disrupted by BPA, follicles may not develop properly, may not mature at the right time, or may not release eggs when they should. This isn't dramatic failure that you'd notice immediately. This is subtle dysfunction that compounds over time. Your uterine lining also depends on estrogen for proper development. Estrogen stimulates the growth of a healthy endometrial lining that can support implantation. When BPA disrupts estrogen signaling, this lining may not thicken sufficiently. It may not develop the proper blood supply. It may not create the right environment for an embryo to implant and grow. Additionally, BPA doesn't just affect estrogen. Research has shown it can also interfere with other hormones that play crucial roles in fertility. It can disrupt thyroid function, which is essential for energy production, metabolism, and healthy pregnancy. It can interfere with progesterone, which is crucial for maintaining pregnancy once conception occurs. It can affect insulin sensitivity, which is important for hormonal balance and metabolic health. Now here's what makes this particularly challenging. BPA exposure is cumulative. It doesn't just enter your body once and exit. It can accumulate in fat tissue. It can circulate in your bloodstream. And because it's broken down relatively slowly, if you're exposed repeatedly, levels can build up over time. Let me paint a picture of typical daily exposure. You wake up and reach for your plastic water bottle that sat on your nightstand all night. You pour cereal from a plastic container into a plastic bowl. You drink from a plastic cup. You pack lunch in plastic containers. You drink from plastic water bottles throughout the day. You eat food from cans, which are lined with BPA-containing epoxy resins. You touch thermal paper receipts. Your daily routine is full of potential BPA exposure points, and over months and years, this creates a cumulative effect. Here's another concerning aspect. BPA isn't just affecting you as an individual. If you're pregnant, BPA can cross the placental barrier and affect your developing baby. Research has shown that prenatal BPA exposure can affect fetal development, potentially affecting fertility later in that child's life. This isn't just about your current attempts to conceive. This is about the health of future generations. But here's what you need to understand about your body's remarkable capacity to process and eliminate BPA when the burden isn't overwhelming. Your liver metabolizes BPA and converts it into compounds that can be eliminated through your urine. This is a natural detoxification process. But when your BPA exposure is constant and your burden is high, your elimination systems can't keep up. Levels accumulate in your body. Now, let me address the broader picture beyond just BPA. BPA is one endocrine disruptor among many. Your environment is full of them. Phthalates in plastics, pesticides on conventional produce, synthetic fragrances in personal care products, chemicals in cleaning products. All of these can contribute to hormonal disruption. And they create what's called a cumulative effect. The impact of multiple endocrine disruptors is often greater than the sum of individual effects. This is why a holistic approach to reducing endocrine disruption is so crucial. You can't just eliminate one chemical and expect complete results. You need to reduce your overall burden across multiple sources. Every reduction helps. Every change contributes to reducing your body's overall burden. Let me give you specific strategies for reducing BPA exposure. First, swap out plastic food storage containers for glass. Glass doesn't leach chemicals into your food, regardless of temperature or time. It's actually less expensive in the long run because it lasts forever and doesn't stain or retain odors like plastic can. Second, avoid canned foods whenever possible. The epoxy liners in most cans contain BPA or similar compounds. Choose fresh or frozen foods instead. When you must use canned foods, look for brands that use BPA-free linings, but understand that the alternatives may have similar effects. Third, never heat food in plastic containers, even if they're labeled microwave safe. Heat dramatically increases the amount of BPA that leaches from plastic into your food. Always transfer food to glass or ceramic containers before heating. Fourth, use stainless steel or glass water bottles instead of plastic. If you must use plastic, never leave it in a hot car or expose it to heat, as heat accelerates chemical leaching. Fifth, reduce your exposure to thermal paper receipts. Many thermal papers are coated with BPA that can be absorbed through your skin when you handle the receipt. The skin absorption can be significant, especially if you use hand sanitizer afterward, which can increase absorption. Consider refusing receipts when possible, or handling them minimally. Sixth, be mindful of plastic packaging in general. Choose foods packaged in glass, paper, or minimal packaging when possible. Buy produce loose rather than packaged in plastic bags. Choose whole foods over processed foods, which are more likely to be packaged in plastic. Here's the crucial part many people miss. Reducing your exposure is just one side of the equation. Supporting your body's ability to process and eliminate BPA is equally important. Your liver is your primary detoxification organ. When your liver is healthy and well supported, it can metabolize and eliminate BPA more effectively. Liver-supporting nutrients include B vitamins, particularly B12 and folate, which are essential for many enzymatic reactions in your liver. Antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, and compounds found in cruciferous vegetables can support liver function. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and Brussels sprouts contain compounds that enhance phase 2 liver detoxification pathways. Your gut health also matters significantly. Your gut microbiome plays a role in hormone metabolism and excretion. When your gut health is optimal, with diverse beneficial bacteria, your body can process and eliminate hormones and hormone-like substances more effectively. This is another reason why supporting digestive health through whole foods, fiber, and probiotics can be so beneficial for hormonal balance. Hydration is essential. BPA is primarily eliminated through urine, so adequate hydration supports your kidneys in filtering and removing BPA from your system. When you're dehydrated, your kidneys can't function optimally, and toxins can accumulate. Let me also explain why movement matters for hormone balance and fertility. When you move your body regularly, you support lymphatic circulation. Your lymphatic system is responsible for transporting waste products, including toxins and hormone metabolites, from your tissues back into circulation where they can be eliminated. But your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like your cardiovascular system. It relies on muscle contractions from movement to circulate. When you're sedentary, lymphatic flow slows, and toxins can stagnate in your tissues, including reproductive tissues. Regular movement also supports insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for hormonal balance. When your cells are sensitive to insulin, you maintain stable blood sugar, which supports healthy hormone production and balance throughout your system. Additionally, research has shown that moderate regular exercise can help regulate menstrual cycles, support ovulation, and improve fertility outcomes. This isn't about intense training. This is about consistent, moderate movement that supports all your systems. Now, let me address something important about timing and patience. Reducing your BPA exposure and supporting your body's elimination systems will reduce your body burden over time, but this doesn't happen overnight. If you've been accumulating BPA for years, it may take months to see significant changes in your hormone levels and fertility. Think about it like this. If you've been depositing sand into your basement for years and you stop adding new sand, that's good. But the sand that's already in your basement doesn't disappear immediately. You have to actively remove it, and that takes time. Similarly, when you reduce your BPA exposure, you stop adding to the burden. But the BPA that's already stored in your tissues needs time to be mobilized and eliminated. However, every day you're not adding to the burden is a day your body has to work on eliminating what's already there. And when you're supporting your elimination systems with proper nutrition, hydration, movement, and rest, you're creating the conditions that allow your body to work more efficiently. Let me emphasize something crucial. I want you to understand that this isn't about creating fear or panic. BPA and endocrine disruption are real concerns, but the goal is empowerment through information. Many women have successfully conceived even with BPA exposure. Reducing exposure simply optimizes your chances. It removes obstacles that might be preventing conception from occurring. Additionally, if you're struggling with fertility, BPA exposure is just one potential factor among many. Age, genetics, underlying health conditions, stress levels, sleep quality, nutritional status, all of these play roles. Reducing BPA exposure won't solve every fertility challenge, but it removes one significant potential obstacle. Let me also explain something about the broader endocrine disruptor landscape. BPA isn't the only concern. Many manufacturers have replaced BPA with BPS or BPF, which are chemically similar compounds that may have similar endocrine disrupting effects. Simply choosing BPA-free products doesn't eliminate the concern because the replacements may be equally problematic. This is why focusing on reducing overall plastic use, not just BPA-free products, is the wiser long-term strategy. Glass, stainless steel, wood, ceramic, these materials don't require the same level of concern about chemical leaching. I also want to address the mental and emotional aspects of fertility challenges. When you're trying to conceive month after month without success, stress naturally accumulates. And here's what you need to know. Chronic stress itself can disrupt fertility. Stress affects the HPA axis, which influences reproductive hormones. It can suppress ovulation. It can contribute to hormonal imbalances. The irony is that worrying about BPA and fertility becomes a stressor itself. This is why it's essential to approach changes from a place of empowerment rather than fear. Make changes because you want to optimize your health, because you're taking action rather than feeling powerless. But don't let the changes become additional sources of stress. Some strategies are simple and low stress. Switching to glass food storage containers takes no extra effort and actually simplifies cleanup. Choosing fresh produce over canned doesn't require significant lifestyle changes. Using metal or glass water bottles is actually more convenient long-term. These aren't burdensome changes. They're upgrades to your routine. Other changes might take more effort or planning. Reading labels, sourcing BPA-free products when necessary, these require more attention. But they don't have to be overwhelming. Start with the biggest impact, lowest effort changes. Make those habits. Then add the next layer of changes. Progress over perfection. Let me also address what the research tells us about reversibility. The good news is that when you reduce your exposure and support your body's elimination systems, your hormone function can improve. Studies have shown that women who reduce BPA exposure experience measurable improvements in hormone levels, menstrual regularity, and fertility outcomes. Your body has remarkable capacity to heal and optimize when you give it the right conditions. When you reduce your toxin burden, support your elimination systems, and provide proper nutrition, your cells can function more optimally. Your hormone production can normalize. Your fertility can improve. I also want to emphasize something about perspective. BPA exposure affects men too. It can reduce sperm quality, motility, and count. It can affect testosterone levels and reproductive function. Fertility isn't just a women's issue. When couples are trying to conceive, both partners benefit from reducing endocrine disruptor exposure. Now, let me explain the interconnectedness of all your body's systems. Fertility isn't isolated from everything else happening in your body. When you reduce BPA and endocrine disruptor exposure, you're not just supporting reproductive hormones, you're supporting thyroid function, metabolic health, immune function, cognitive function, and more. Every endocrine disruptor that's affecting your reproductive hormones is also potentially affecting other aspects of your health. When you reduce that burden, you're creating positive effects throughout your entire system. Better sleep, more stable mood, better energy, clearer thinking. These are all benefits that come from reducing endocrine disruption. This is why a holistic approach to health optimization is so powerful. When you support your body's natural detoxification processes, when you provide proper nutrition, adequate hydration, regular movement, restorative sleep, you're creating the foundation for optimal function across all systems. Let me give you a practical action plan that's manageable and sustainable. Week 1. Replace all your plastic food storage containers with glass. This is a one-time purchase that will last for years. Choose a set that fits your needs and budget. You don't need to go top of the line. Even basic glass containers from discount stores work well. Week 2. Eliminate canned foods from your diet for 1 week to see how it feels. You might find it's easier than you thought to use fresh or frozen alternatives. Notice how this makes you feel. Week 3. Replace your water bottles with stainless steel or glass. Keep one in your bag, one at work, one at home. Make it easy for yourself. Week 4. As you shop for food, choose items packaged in glass or minimal packaging when possible. Notice the difference in the variety and freshness available. Week 5. Commit to never heating food in plastic again. Have glass containers ready for reheating meals. Make this an automatic habit. 6 weeks. Begin reading labels on personal care products, cleaning products, and food packaging. Notice where endocrine disruptors might be hiding. Make one change per week based on what you find. Within 6 weeks, you'll have significantly reduced your daily BPA exposure. And here's the powerful part. This isn't a temporary change. These become your new habits, your new normal. Every day after that initial 6 weeks, you continue benefiting from these choices. The effects compound. Let me also explain something about expectations and results. Reducing BPA exposure isn't a magic fertility treatment. If you have underlying fertility issues that need medical attention, this won't replace that. But what it does is remove obstacles that might be preventing your body from achieving optimal function. It optimizes your baseline. Additionally, fertility is complex and affected by multiple factors. Age is a significant factor. Genetics play a role. Underlying conditions need to be addressed with appropriate medical care. Stress, sleep, nutrition, movement, all of these matter. Reducing BPA is one important piece of a complete picture. But here's what I want you to know. Taking action, making changes that reduce your toxic burden. These actions have value beyond just fertility. They support your health in countless ways. Better hormone function affects mood, energy, metabolism, cognition. Supporting your elimination systems benefits every cell in your body. These aren't just fertility changes. These are foundational health changes that affect your entire life. I also want to address something about social situations and practicality. Living completely plastic-free isn't always realistic or practical. You'll still eat foods that have touched plastic during processing or shipping. You'll still encounter BPA in cans when you travel or eat at restaurants. You'll still handle receipts when shopping. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is significant reduction. Even reducing your exposure by 70 or 80% creates a meaningful difference for your body burden. Your body's elimination systems can handle occasional exposure. The problem arises when exposure is constant and cumulative. So be practical. Make your home environment as healthy as possible, but don't become obsessive or fearful when you encounter plastics outside your home. Your home is where you have the most control, so optimize that environment. But maintain flexibility for social situations and real-world practicality. Let me also explain something about the timing of changes and conception attempts. If you're actively trying to conceive right now, start these changes immediately. Every day of reduced exposure is beneficial, but understand that it may take several weeks to months for your body to process out accumulated BPA and for your hormone function to optimize. The best time to start these changes was before you began trying to conceive, but the second best time is now. Even if you're already several months into fertility challenges, reducing your burden can still make a meaningful difference. Your body's ability to heal and optimize never completely stops, as long as you provide the right conditions. I also want to address something about men and fertility. This topic often focuses on women, but BPA exposure affects male fertility too. Men who reduce BPA exposure experience improvements in sperm count, motility, and morphology. This is crucial for couples facing fertility challenges. Both partners making these changes can optimize outcomes. Now, let me explain what research tells us about the long-term implications. Chronic endocrine disruption from BPA doesn't just affect fertility. It's been linked to other health conditions including breast cancer, prostate cancer, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome. When you reduce BPA exposure, you're not just optimizing fertility, you're reducing your risk for numerous other health conditions. Additionally, research suggests that BPA exposure during fetal development can affect long-term health throughout life. When women reduce BPA exposure before and during pregnancy, they're protecting not just their own fertility, but the future health of their children. This isn't just about conception, this is about generational health. The science on BPA and endocrine disruption is clear and compelling. Hundreds of studies have documented the effects. The European Food Safety Authority has repeatedly reduced their safe threshold based on new evidence. Regulatory agencies worldwide are struggling to keep up with the research showing lower doses than previously thought can cause harm. This isn't fringe science. This is mainstream research that informs public health policy. Major medical journals have published studies on BPA and fertility. The research is used to inform healthcare recommendations. This is evidence-based health information, not fear-mongering or speculation. So the question becomes, given what the science shows, what will you do with this information? The research is clear. The solutions are practical. The benefits extend far beyond fertility to every aspect of your health. You have the power to significantly reduce your exposure. You have the information to make informed choices. The path is mapped. The changes are accessible. What will you do with this knowledge? Remember, your body is designed for health, for optimal function, for fertility. When you remove obstacles and provide proper support, remarkable healing and optimization become possible. Reducing BPA exposure removes one significant obstacle. Supporting your elimination systems provides the foundation for that healing to occur. Start today. Make one change. Build momentum. Support your body's natural capacity to heal and function optimally. The evidence is clear. Your body is remarkable. The question is, what will you do with this information? Important medical disclaimer. The information provided in this content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is based on scientific research, expert knowledge, and holistic health principles gathered from various sources. However, this information does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, cannot replace professional medical consultation, should not be used as a substitute for qualified health care, may not be appropriate for your specific health condition. Critical requirements. Always consult with qualified healthcare professionals before making health decisions. Seek immediate medical attention for urgent health concerns. Discuss any health changes or new symptoms with your doctor. Ensure any supplements or lifestyle changes are appropriate for your individual situation. Consider your personal medical history, current medications, and health status. Limitation of liability. The authors and publishers of this content assume no responsibility for any adverse effects or consequences resulting from the use of any information, suggestions, or procedures described herein. Individual results may vary, and health outcomes depend on numerous factors beyond the scope of this content. Professional medical care. This content encourages and emphasizes the importance of maintaining regular contact with qualified healthcare providers for proper medical care, diagnosis, and treatment of any health conditions.